based on the statistics that we have, we are told that 12 to 19, that is children aged between 12 and 19, and that is the category that we are here. This is a stage that talks about identity and role confusion. This is the time that we talk about dreaming and major physical changes. It is also the time that we are talking about emotional demands. So if these particular emotional demands are not handled in a good way, then it might come up with a negative effect. If, for example, you find yourself, you find that your demands, both emotional and physical demands, are not handled carefully, then you can find yourself, based on the circle of friends that you have, getting into drug and substance abuse, or even having a problem with your self-esteem as a result of the peer pressure that is there. Or it can also lead to unhealthy sexual practice. All this, remember, are dream killers. And so in our theme of Unlimited Me, we want to delve in and also to look at these dream killers. We want to look at them now and look at the future. How do we go against all this? We need to raise our personal brand that we are. If you are, for example, a Jen or Joseph, your personal brand, and you must also start overcoming all these self-imposed limitations. Remember that there are things you can control and there are others you cannot control. We talked about that last week for those that participated in this particular event. Focus on those that you can control because they are within you. Let go of those that you cannot control because they are without. So note that use this particular time in a positive way and in a way that it will impact in your life positively. I hope you can hear me clearly. And so I want to give you just a short statistics that we are talking about. One, from different bodies that are conducting research in the country, over a period of 3 months in lockdown due to COVID-19, 152,000 Kenyan teenage girls became pregnant. And I'm talking about the period between April, that is 3 months from April last year. For now, the cases have gone high. But remember, that is a statistic that is so worrying, that over 152,000 Kenyan teenage girls became pregnant. Understand that in Machakos County alone, 3,964 girls under the age of 19 became pregnant. And in Nairobi, 11,795 girls under the age of 19 were pregnant within that particular period. And you are told that 2 out of 10 girls between the ages of 15 and 19 are reported to be pregnant or have had a child already. Almost a quarter of Kenyan women give birth by the age of 18 and nearly half by the age of 20. That's a very damning statistic. And part of it also understand that even the last KCSE and KCPE that some of you here might have sat for the KCPE or KCSE, there are students that did these particular papers while in hospital, delivery rooms. Almost every day from the media, only the reported cases, we had like a case or two of girls being reported to have given birth during a particular paper. So we are talking about a topic that is going to be of great help to us. And to the boys that are here and to the parents that are here, for the boys, you might be looking at it, why are we talking about statistics that are only tackling the issues that are related to girls? Remember, for every girl that is pregnant, there is a boy. For every case of pregnancy, there is a male person. So it involves all of us in all these statistics. It is alarming that so many teenage girls have fallen pregnant during lockdown, which have life consequences for the girls. So I might be talking to a person here that is affected, either negatively or either directly or indirectly. But that is not the end of all this. But again, for those that are not, understand that teen pregnancies deprive the young girls the opportunity to further their education and attain their career goals. That girl, that person that you want to be, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a surgeon, an engineer, teen pregnancy will limit that opportunity. Teen pregnancy also exposes young girls and their children to major health risks. Pregnancy and childbirth complications are the leading causes of death among girls aged between 15 and 19 years globally, and that's according to World Health Organization. It says that girls become more vulnerable to poverty, and when all this happens, girls become now vulnerable to poverty and exclusion, and her health often suffers. When a girl is pregnant, all that happens. Now you are changing from a well-nurtured person, chances are high that now poverty and exclusion comes in. And when all this happens, you are told that complications during pregnancy are the second cause of death for 15 to 19 years old girls globally. That's again according to World Health Organization. This clearly shows that if we cannot deal with the issue of sex education early enough, then chances are high that the statistics are going to go high. They are going to go high. That is why we decided to take the bold step of talking about teen pregnancy. In all this is under sex education, which is going to be the first part of the discussion. Then we are going to talk about drug and substance abuse as key factors that might contribute to the same. And they are told by a doctor called Ruth Kahuthia that to research done by Dr. Ruth Kahuthia on emerging drug in Nairobi and Mombasa, youth in the two counties are now abusing at least 40 substances. And I might just ask, tell me of any drug and substance that you know, any drug or substance that you know. You might be surprised that they are within our vicinity, and so we understand them. Tell me of any drug, just send a chat of any drug that you know, any substance, hard substance that you know. Just send a chat, and I will mention the same. I've received 3 already. The substance includes and antiretroviral drugs with boys as young as 4 years and girls as young as 9 years already hooked. Now that is the part, the statistics that we are talking about. And based on the drugs that you guys are giving me, I'm getting heroin, I'm seeing painkillers, I'm seeing molly, I'm seeing heroin again, I'm seeing tobacco, cocaine, Xanax. Why? There is another one called Xanax, and so much. You guys, you understand all this, and I know that it is a topic in science and in biology, and so you understand the challenges that we are talking about. So drug and substance abuse, very, very key in whatever we are doing. Drug and substance abuse, very, very key in our topic of discussion today. So now part of the statistics tells us that if we are not in a position to control the drug and substance abuse, then chances are high that our dreams might be affected, because they are part of the dream killers. They are part of the dream killers that we have. So how do we unchain ourselves? How do we come out of all this so-called the perceived pandemic? For me, I'll call it pandemic that is affecting the young generation. Now, this is where now I want to welcome our speakers of today, and I'll request, first of all, just to hear from them at least to greet us before going forward. So I'll welcome Mr. Shikuku. Just say hi wherever you are, and then we will continue. Mr. Shikuku. Mr. Peter Shikuku, you can say hi wherever you are.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tieno, and to our wonderful, okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
We can get you clearly.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tieno, and to our wonderful esteemed boys and girls. I want to welcome you to this great day. We are here for you. We are here to take you through this amazing topic, Unlimited Me. And it is in such a way that we want you to know that you are not limited in any way. And we shall help you to unearth that which God has deposited in you, and so that you see the potential that you have, and to know that you have the capability to make a difference in this life. We must live differently in this generation that is rotten with dirty things. We must stand out. And so I'm so much grateful that I'll be one of your speakers. And please, I can't wait to speak about peer pressure. God bless you and most welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Before I welcome now Madam Terry to start us off, some years back, 2 years or last year but one, let me talk about last year when a student approached me during this particular programs that we are having. This particular student had a problem with the self-esteem and also with the issue of relationship. And by the end of it all, it was a damning revelation that the child gave out, the student gave out. This is a person between the person was around 13, 14 years of age. And part of the discussion was about sex education. And the question was, so far, I'm having a challenge. Because within my neighborhood, I have a crush. And in the process, this issue of having a crush is affecting me. How do I go about this challenge? I don't want to tell my mommy or I don't want to tell my daddy of the challenge that I'm going through. And yes, the person visits at home. To our family, they know the person as just a friend from a different school. But to us, we know what is happening in us. Now, that was a tough topic to start with. And I know in one way or another, you found yourself at this particular situation where there are changes in your body, there are feelings, the emotions that you have, and you fear talking to your mommy or your daddy. I don't know. You can tell me through a chat of the last time you guys talked about sex education. Just chat me and let it be a private one. I won't call your name, but just tell me the last time that you guys discussed about anything sex. Just tell me. Today we are allowed to discuss about that here. So just tell me, and don't feel that you feel like you don't want to express yourself in all this discussion about sex education with your parents, leave alone the school, because in school that is the topic. But what about here? Even in school, teachers try to run away from the topic because we don't want to face things head on. So now, how do we deal with this? We don't talk about them, but they affect us. So to start us off, for those that don't know her, I want to welcome Reverend Teresia Washera Muola. She's been our resident panelist, always every time giving us insight of so many great things that are happening in our lives. People are telling me I don't remember. I've never had, like a year ago, some are saying, no, I've never had a discussion with my parents. It has never happened. I talked to my nanny. Okay. So you feel comfortable expressing yourself to your nanny than your parents? Never, never, never before. Someone is saying that the last time it brought an issue with my parents. So I understand. All this is a gray area, and no one wants to address it. Just the same way, right now, I know where you are seated. You are very relaxed and attentive, but you don't want any neighbor to get in or your friend to get in, because now wakiingia watasikia tunaongea nini guy. Okay, that is why we want to demystify all this. So Reverend Teresia Muola is an alumni of Presbyterian University of East Africa, having completed a course in counseling psychology and also diploma or theology, currently undertaking BA in theology. She's also an associate counselor with Kenya Counseling and Psychology and Psychological Association. She's well versed with youth and marriage counseling, having worked hand in hand with the New Hope Churches, Counselor of Hopes, Achievers Team, CBO, and Lighthouse mentorship programs. She occasionally contributes in different radio programs, and so you are home. You are home. So Reverend Teresia Washera Muola, we call her our mom. Welcome on board. It is now my ambo ama mnahitaji to welcome you. Go ahead.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Otieno.
Yes.
And thank you, Mr. Shikuku. Thank you, young boys and girls. I don't know whether I'm audible. Can you hear me?
You are audible. We can hear you. In fact, we are now waiting for you to just take us through.
Okay, thank you. I needed to be sure of that. So good afternoon, everyone. I am so grateful to have you today.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it is an honor to be together with you again. I don't take it for granted, and I'm happy that you have allowed yourself to be part of us this afternoon. And so I want to believe that you journey together in this analysis from our young ones, that some have never had a talk with their parents, some have never been able to have a moment with their parents, and it is interesting. It is interesting, and the reason why we are here, that we may share together with you, because this is a very important discussion. It's a very important area in our lives that each and every individual passes through, and if not handled well, it can lead into problems. So welcome into this discussion, and I want to believe that we'll be free with one another, we'll be open to one another. If there is anything that you need to know, please feel free to ask us so that we can journey together. This is a journey. Every person grows every day. As a new day comes, you grow to another level. And so even in sexual matters, we also continue to journey together in these discussions. So welcome and welcome. I'm happy for you.
So Madam Terry, before you go to drug and substance abuse, I feel like asking this particular question. How do you how do you start the discussion about whether it is drug and substance abuse, whether it is about the issue of sex education? How do you start? Because these are very, very, very topics that we are not allowed to discuss in our families. That is the perception. based on our traditional African setting, we are not allowed to discuss this. So how do we break the ice?
Wow. Thank you, Bwana Otieno. That is very true, and it's very sensitive. Actually, it is not only a problem to the children. Even parents, they also don't know how to start off. They wonder, what do I tell my child about sex? They look at a child and they imagine this person is very young. He or she doesn't know anything. Where do I start? If it's about drugs, the same. They ask themselves, what do I tell them about the drugs? Supposing they are already in drugs, how will I handle it? So it is a common problem between the parents and the children. None is very free to start it off because there are those fears. And as you have said, from our own setups, our cultural backgrounds, it has been like, so as you are saying, it has to start with somebody with some boldness. It calls for some boldness to start off this topic. It calls for some boldness because by the end of it, it is eating both the parents and the children. So in fact, it just calls for boldness. And number two, it calls for somebody who is also aware of what you're talking about. Because again, you cannot talk about something that you don't know. So you have to be also aware of some few things so that as you open it out, you are aware of which line am I touching from. So I would say the discussion of today will help us to be able to know where do we start, because you cannot just start on something that you have never heard or that you don't know. But at least when you know something, you will have some grounds and some basics of starting it off. However, it calls for boldness and
Take it away, Madam Terry. Take it away now. The boldness is in your court.
Wow, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this discussion is about drug and substance abuse. Drug and substance abuse. And as Bwana Otieno said, this is one of the vices that is eating our young generation. It is one of the vices that is causing deaths. It is one of the vices that is bringing havoc in families, drug and substance abuse. And as Otieno said, you are in that stage of dreaming and thinking big about tomorrow. You are dreaming every day and telling yourself, tomorrow I want to be Mr. So-and-so. I want to be like this and the other. And so drug and substance abuse, it is one of the vices that is killing the dreams of our young ones, such that by the end of it, they don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't even understand themselves. So I'm happy to discuss this drug and substance with you so that at least we may be able to understand how do we overcome it? How do we overcome it? So from the screen, we are going to go together. We are going first to understand what is a drug. And there is one person by the name Chris Wood who has helped us to understand what a drug is. This definition, Chris Wood gave it in the year 2008. And he said that a drug is any substance or product that once taken in the body is capable of causing psychological, physiological, and psychological changes. Any substance or a product that once taken in our body, it has the capability, it has the power to cause some changes in our bodies. So that is a drug. Now, today we are talking about drug abuse. It is, in other words, we're talking about these drugs. When they are abused, what happens? When they are abused or when they are taken in the wrong way, what happens? So drug abuse is it may have negative health effects on the body and may also result in social problems, physical dependence, or psychological addiction. These substances, which are legally and openly sold in the streets, supermarkets, and pharmacies, are quickly replacing traditional drugs such as cocaine and heroin as a product of choice among the youth. What am I saying here? I'm saying that in drug abuse, it is whereby we take the drugs in a way that they affect us negatively. They affect our health. They affect our bodies. They affect the way we relate with others. They affect our dependence. They affect our psychological effects. They affect the way we relate with many people. So that is drug abuse. And then you are saying that previously there were those drugs that were well known, as some of you laid down there or sit there. Drugs like cocaine, they were well known in the market. However, there are many new threats of drugs that are coming up every day now. There are new threats that are coming up today, and they are quickly replacing what has been there in the market. So the two most abused emerging substances are shisha and kubal. Use of prescription drugs such as Piriton, Panadol, diclofenac, and other drugs meant to suppress the HIV virus is on the rise too. What am I saying? I'm saying apart from cocaine that we are used to, apart from the heroin that we are used to, there are many other emerging substances that are being used today, like the shisha, the kubal, and some others call it kubel. And this one is more of a tobacco product that has been mixed with things like bangi. When it is in the market, it looks like something like a tea leaf. It looks something present. So you may not know that you're buying a drug if you're not keen. So there are many trades that are coming out today and that are overtaking the previous ones. They are being modified every day. Today, people are even using the HIV drugs to make themselves feel high. So drugs are on the rise in different ways, in different forms. So that's why we are talking about it, and we pray that God help us, that we are not caught up with this trend, because this is a vice that can kill our dreams. Now, the first question that we need to ask ourselves, ask ourselves, why do people take drugs and substance? Why do they take? Because again, nobody was born taking drugs. I want to believe all of us were born in the same way that we were born, whereby you came out with nothing. You came out with nothing and you knew nothing. You were just brought as a toddler, and by you started learning things. So then what happened that along the way, people start taking drugs and substance. So according to the research that was done by NACADA, NACADA is the authority that deals with the drugs and all that. So according to the research that was done by NACADA.
Okay. There is a network problem from your end, but just before she joins us, Madam Terry, we have glitches from your end. Before you continue, guys, you might be, Madam Terry.
Major reasons. There are three major.
You are breaking. Now you're okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Okay. Now, for those that understands NACADA, you must understand that NACADA is the body that deals with NACADA deals with the issue of drugs and substance abuse. Drugs and substance abuse. So, Madam Terry.
Yes.
Now, can you hear us clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. We had a challenge from your end. Now you can go ahead. Yes, Madam Terry.
Can I can hear you.
Continue now.
Yes, sorry. I was saying that there are those individual factors. And the individual factors are something like the low perception.
Madam Terry, sorry. Try to move from. Sorry, Madam Terry. Try to move around to an area that has network. we have glitches from your end. Sorry for that, and then I'll just come immediately. So guys, just as Madam Terry said, make sure that on our end, everything is okay. Understand that NACADA, Madam Terry, when you are ready, you just tell me that NACADA is a body that deals with the issue of drugs and substance abuse in the country, and they do different research. Currently, the board is made up of different people, and one of them that is a bit unique is a young comedian called Chipukizi that is in the board, and currently I think is the chair of the board, called Bwana Chipukizi. Chipukizi is famous with his programs in Churchill Show. So he was put there to represent the interest of the youths. And now here we are trying to talk about why do people take drugs and substance. Madam Terry, are you ready to continue? Unmute. Madam Terry, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead. Now
can you hear me?
Thanks.
Can you hear? Okay,
Very
you can hear
clear.
me now?
Very clear.
Sorry for that. Okay, now we can go back. Okay. I was talking about the individual factors, why people take drugs, that there are various reasons, and one of another. Sorry, as Otieno brings back the screen.
Yes, it is there. Sorry. I think from your end,
okay, Otieno, I'm waiting for you now to bring back.
It is there now. Let me bring it back. Sorry for that network issue. Now you can see it.
Okay. Thank you.
From your end, Madam Terry, there's
that are individual factors. So part of them is the peer pressure. The peer pressure that our brother is about to talk about. That some people take drugs because of the pressure that's been caused by them, by their friends, by their loved ones, by the people that are around them. Peer pressure is another thing that causes people to start taking.
Sorry, Madam Terry. Sorry, Madam Terry. As you work on that issue of network, let me just take you guys through this particular area, and that is under why do we take substance? Madam Terry, just work on your network, and then now we are getting back to you to continue. Now we have the three factors. We are talking about individual factor, we have family factor, and then the community factor. And these three factors are very, very vital because they deal with almost everything. We are either individual, we are either family, or we are either a community. Now, talking about individual factors, you found yourself having low perception. You found yourself having, you have a peer pressure coming from your friends. You've seen people trying to pressure you towards that. So how do you, the decisions that you make in this particular, during this particular time might affect you. Now, there is also rebellion. You are rebelling from whatever you are being told to do. So it is very, very important. And then poor role models. For example, most of the time, currently we are having cases of shooting, gun issues in US, and you find that it involves the perceived blacks, and in the process of all this, you find that when they're doing all this, the young guys, when they're doing all this, they are talking about their role models to be somebody that they believe in. And that is the person that is motivating them to do 1, 2, 3. And so poor role modeling can also lead to you abusing the drug. Control of anxiety. You want to get on stage. You've heard of people saying that I need to be high. If you have a father or a mother who takes one for the road, then when they are going to address people, or even your friends that you know, and they are going to address people in public, you find that someone wants to take something just to make sure that the person is okay, to forget the past, forget that he's dealing or she's dealing with an audience. This is mostly affecting people that are dealing with communication a lot. And that is why you've heard of people, the artists, the musicians, you've heard about the comedians, you've heard about some of the newscasters going into depression as a result of even having the issue of drug and substance abuse, because they want to control anxiety, fear, and stress. Lack of purpose in life, because you've seen yourself as, I don't have anything to do in this world. Therefore, let me just enjoy myself as the sun rises and sets. Looking for pleasure and curiosity. You want to try and see, how will I feel? And in fact, that is the first beginning of people abusing drugs. That urge of, let me see how people feel. Will I be high? Will I feel like the way I saw someone feeling? When you start doing that, it becomes the norm. Desire to be independent can also bring opportunities for unhealthy or unsafe behavior, such as the use of drugs and substance. Now, family factors, the marital conflicts and breakdown can also lead to that. Parenting style, maybe in one way or another, your parents are, that is their way of life. Therefore, who am I? I can also do the same. You feel like, because we are looking into our parents as the role models, and because they are doing it, therefore, if mommy or daddy is doing, then I can also do it. Overprotection by family, overprotection by family. You found yourself that you're more of overprotected. Most of the teens complain of that I feel like my family is overprotecting me. I want to go and explore. And in the process, when you get that opportunity, slight opportunity, you end up messing up yourself. Ambitious and over-expecting parents, high amount of pocket money. Yes, for those that are going for high school, those that are in high school, those that are in private, those that are in boarding schools, you found that you've given pocket money. And so, because you have a lot, and that is the remaining balance. Therefore, this balance, we can use it to do 1, 2, 3, and feel like, let me see how people feel. That leads to drug abuse. And you're also told that lack of values and weak belief system, and lack of rules, boundaries, and limits in a family. So when we don't have limits in the family, then chances are high that it can also lead to drug and substance abuse. And you see someone that you take to be your role model taking the drugs in your family, the chances are high that you might find yourself having that urge. I asked grade 4 some time back of any student that has never taken a drug. And that was more so on the alcohol. And lo and behold, 3 pupils out of 47 were the only ones that have never taken or never tasted alcohol. And they knew different types of them. The 42 of them, the 44 of them had taken. 3 were the only ones that were seen kwamba hawa ndio wale ambao hawajielewi. And in the process, if based on how we handle the issue, it control. But if we could have handled the issue in a negative way, or in a way that we don't show why it is important not to take, then these other 3 would have felt like, I need also to take so that I fit in the shoes of my friends. Then there's the community factors of weak laws and policies, availability and accessibility of the drugs. When you go to the shop, you're in a position to see them there. Kuber that we've talked about, you are seeing them being sold everywhere. You are seeing the gums and the glues everywhere. Gum, wanauza kila mahali. You are seeing heroin and cocaine. When you go to the coastal region, at the beach area, chances are high that you will find someone taking a drug. And so when you are in a position of accessing it easily, then chances are high that you might find yourself taking part in the same. A country that is most affected with the issue of drug, apart from the coastal strip, that is Mombasa and Nairobi, a country that is affected that is not in Africa is Mexico. Mexico is known for the issue of drugs, where it is controlling everything, and they are fighting hard to control the issue of drug. And that is because of weak laws that have been put in place. So types of drugs, before Madam Terry, if you're in a position to, now you can let me know, types of drugs that we have, that according again to NACADA and National Authority Campaign Against Drug Abuse, these are the drugs that people abuse. 1 is alcohol, 2 is tobacco, wengine wanasema tobacco, then 3 is cocaine, then heroin, and we still have others. You'll be surprised that that medication that you take from the shop, that you go to take from a pharmacy, also contributes, can also be termed as a drug, and you can abuse it. Yes. So alcohol affects the function and often the judgment of the person using it. That one you need to understand. And what about tobacco? When you smoke tobacco, it has an effect in your lungs, you know that, and liver, in your liver, you know that. And that is, alcohol has an effect in your liver, and it brings the liver cirrhosis, for those that are clear with that particular information. Then the tobacco also affects part of your lungs, and by the end of it all, it is possible to have saratani, cancer of either the throat or different, you know, we have different types of cancer. So you might find yourself affected. I happen to have had a grandmother that was smoking, and her style of puffing was of putting it inside the mouth. And unfortunately, she passed on as a result of cancer. What happened? The space between the nose, you could look at the nose and you see the throat. That is how unfortunate it was. It ate everything in between. It was so bad, tough situation to handle, and that is the effect of tobacco in our lives. Cocaine, its common names are snow, crack, lady, bazooka, crude, snow, dust, and coke. It can be snorted, smoked, or dissolved in water and injected. In most of the movies that you guys have watched that involves hard drugs, cocaine most of the time is involved. Then heroin also is obtained from the opium poppy. It is a depressant, and it affects the brain pleasure system and relieves pain. You feel like you are okay now, but by the end of it all, unakuwa mtumwa. So those are also the 4 drugs. Then the 5th one is cannabis sativa, also known as bang. And bang is one of the common drugs that you will get on, reports on different media channels of people being arrested in Kenya. Almost every week, there is a case of guys that were trafficking cannabis sativa to different parts of the world. Marijuana, ganja, pot, grass, and weed, inhalants and solvents, ordinary household products that are inhaled or sniffed. And you know these things that are at home. Children feel high, and these things include the nail polish remover. Ladies that are here, it has an effect in your body. Glue, cleaning fluids, hairspray, gasoline. Within seconds, users experience similar effects to those produced by alcohol, and you feel like you are high. So ukiona mtu ametumia nail remover na ameanza kucheka ndani hapo, ujue there is an effect of the same. So you don't need to have close contact to a lot of exposure to the same. Then there is hat or miraa, and this one, you know, for the guys that are coming from Meru area, you know how it is grown, and it is really making a booming business to the guys in Meru County. And mostly they are taking this particular cut or miraa to the Horn of Africa, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and it is doing good business there in Somali. But by the end of it all, they have effects to us. Then prescription drugs or the over-the-counter drugs. You've talked about Piriton, diclofenac, These particular prescriptions, they are supposed to deal with a particular case in your body. And so when you take it most of the time, then you become dependent of them. And by the end of it all, you will find that when you don't take them, then you feel like you need to. You are having a problem, either headache and other things. Something that is good to also inform you is of tea leaves. Confirm that. Constant use of tea leaves is also, and also coffee. Constant use of them can be addictive to ourselves. And you find that when you don't take coffee or you don't take tea, then you have headache. And when you take it, then you are okay. So you need to regulate the usage of coffee or even tea leaves in your beverages and drinks that you're having. Effects of drugs and substance abuse to us. And one is youth who abuse drugs experience adjustment problems. Exposure to HIV/AIDS, sexually transmitted infection, teenage pregnancies, criminal activities, and premature deaths. Sometime back in October, when we had a program with you, those that participated, we showed you a video of a Form 2 student that was arrested at Idurai 44. And this student was arrested doing what? Pickpocketing the phones. And then in the process of pickpocketing the phones, akakamatwa. And when being asked, it was a different scenario. These phones were being taken to another person who gives them the money for them to be in a position to buy drugs. So you are involving yourself in criminal activities because you have the urge to get that particular drug. You want to feel high. It can also cause mental disorders, personality and eating disorders, depression, loss of touch with reality, and unfortunately, death. Go to different rehabilitation centers and look at the cases of people that have involved themselves in substance abuse. You will find them having mental disorders. Some are having personality issues. There's low self-esteem. They are having so much that is affecting them. Eating disorders. Why? Because now they depend much on the drug than even the food that they're supposed to be taking. So when I get 50 bob or 100 bob, instead of buying food, I'll rush to the the person who does the same business for me. I pick the medication or the drug and then use it. I'm constantly using the drug and not eating. And so I'm denying my body different nutrients that are important to us. So that is a case that we really need to address. Then from there, prevention and treatment. When you're talking about prevention and treatment, I hope you can hear me clearly. Can you? Are you getting me clearly?
Yes, Mr. Tieno.
Yes. On prevention and on prevention and one of the prevention or a treatment or cure to this particular pandemic, I will use that word. Why? Because it is ravaging our lives. So one of them, do not self-medicate. Our parents, even us, after looking at how our parents prescribed medication to us, we found ourselves even going to self-prescribe when we have problems. Unapata unaenda unanunua dawa from over the counter to treat a particular disease that you even don't know. Don't self-medicate. That is one sign of abusing the drugs. Don't self-medicate. Tell your parents, go and let the parents go and go to the counter, go to the pharmacy to look for the medication. If not, they will guide you on how to deal with it. But you yourself as an individual, don't do that. 2, practice abstinence. Practice abstinence. You all know about abstinence. What is abstinence? You know that. Huh? So when you practice abstinence, then you'll find yourself treating yourself or curing yourself gradually from this particular drug. If it is a lot of high consumption of caffeine or even tea leaves, then you start reducing on the number. One way of abstaining when dealing with drugs is to reduce on the number of intake. So if you are taking 3 cups in a day, then now reduce it to 2 cups, and then from 2 cups to 1 cup, and then you can even go for a whole day without consuming. That is one way that will also help you. Seek medical intervention. Medical intervention focuses on 2 aspects: breaking the addiction and treating health problems. So when you seek medical intervention, then you are going to break that addiction. Utaanza kupelekwa through each and every step. When you go to the rehabilitation centers, different rehabilitation centers around you, and you find that maybe you are an addict, then if you are taking like a packet of cigarette a day, then you might be given 3/4 of them. They are still giving you 3/4. And then after some time, they reduce the number until the time now that they will be giving you 1 to a day, a time now that you will go free without having a puff. And all that will be good for your development. Then the legal approach, for this particular one, our parents are the ones that can help us more into it. Community intervention. Parents can help through early education about drugs, open communication, good role modeling, and early recognition of developing problems. And how do we create this community intervention? Maybe at your neighborhood, your friends, your brother, your friends are consuming this particular drugs. You know that, but your mommy or your daddy doesn't know. And it can also mean that the parents to these children don't know. So when you give your parents 411, you give them the information about this, then chances are high that your parents might find opportunity to talk to their parents. And in the process, community policing will be playing a big role. Use drugs only when you are sure they are needed and when you are sure how to use them. For the girls that are in their menses, at this particular age, you find yourself in your menses. So you find that you want to consume, you want to take painkillers, you want to do what during this particular period. Make sure that it is a prescribed drug and not based on your own thinking. Don't self-medicate. Group talks to children, whatever we are doing is also good for you. Parents and the society should set good examples, and that is for any parent that is following us here. If you are consuming, if you are already consuming that particular drug, then it is better not to consume it in public. Consume it in an environment where we don't have the students or the children around. We will have a talk with the parents on how to deal with all this. Rehabilitation of drug users, that is the end part of it. This, remember, from the first one, do not self-medicate, to almost parents should establish boundaries, are things that we can have by ourselves. We can control them. But now when worse gets to worse, that is the point where now you are taken to rehabilitation centers to at least help in controlling a lot. So prevention and treatment of cure of drug and substance abuse, you now understand and you know now how you are going to deal with it. So before going to this particular topic that everyone is waiting for, do you know of anyone in your family? And have you ever approached this person in your family? So tell me, send me a chart of how you've handled the issue of drug abuse, how you've handled the issue of drug abuse, either with your friend or with your family member or with a close person to you. How have you handled the issue of drug abuse? Even keeping quiet and not talking about it to your friend is still a way of handling, but it might have a negative impact. So write for me a chart, just send us a chart on how you've handled the impact of or the drug and substance abuse in your environment. Send us a chat and we'll read those particular comments because they are very, very important. Because when we give our different perspectives, then you might find that your own way might have not given us the best results, but when you apply somebody's way, then you are going to get the same. You are going to get positive results. I want to share something. On screen. And I believe that in one way or another, you have watched this video. So I want to share a video with you to introduce us to this topic. I want to share a video with you to introduce us to the next topic. So now, just as you wait, as you send your chats, I'm getting them. I want to share something with you. Yeah, no, someone is saying no. Someone is saying I've never heard. Some saying that, yes, I had a talk. I've never. Okay, I've never. Continue sending the chats, please. Send for me the chats so that we're in a position to go through it in a good way. So I want to share a video and hoping that no one will interrupt us with because it is in the phone. So I want to share it with you just in a few. So get ready, observe, and then we see how it is. It will it will affect my privacy, but it's good to have a look at what is happening. Now, can you see? Everyone can see? Can you see whatever is on the screen? Okay, there it is. Can you hear? Okay, so you can't hear that? Just a moment.
Okay.
Hearing the audio now. Now, can you hear that? Can you hear? Good, let me start. Thank you. We start. Mtasahau. I hope you've seen what happens and now you understand about the same. That was just a picture, clear picture of what happens, what teachers do around to help us make sure that we are okay, just to help us around. So that particular video might have been an interesting one, but with full of information that is good for us, that we need to learn, information of our own personal development, information that when we get well will help us. Drug and substance abuse that we have talked about will, if we are in a position, if we are using that, then it will take us to the next topic of discussion, because you won't be in the right sense of your mind. And so it is easy for people to take advantage of you. Some years back, a story that I've given to many students, a friend, by that time you were still young in our area, within the town. And so Facebook was just coming up. And in the process, there was a chat with, there was a guy that did a chat with a lady, a girl who was in Form 1. And the chat, then the friendship, then from friendship, then the guy told the lady that I'm traveling to Kenya. I will be in Kenya in the next 2 days. And so our good friend went to welcome the person. And the process of going to welcome the person, they met at a place called next to Hilton area. And on that particular point, that was the last part that we knew. The next part, the lady, the girl, Form 1 student was picked, was found in her unusual sense along Uhuru Highway. Along Uhuru Highway, already dragged, taken to Nairobi Women's that deals with gender-based violence and also the issue of rape cases. She was found that she had been raped, but she was not in her right sense of mind because she was already intoxicated. So drug abuse leads to so many. I've received a comment here, comments around. Someone says, no. Someone says, normally when I have any mild pain, I keep quiet and it just disappears. That's okay if you are not using any medication. And if you are, then you must talk to an adult. Someone says, my uncle smokes, and when I visited him, I used to hide some of the cigarettes and he gradually stopped since he could not find them. Wow. That's a crude way of dealing with your uncle, but that helped in controlling that. That's wonderful. Yes, so you can also come up with ways that are not going to harm someone, but in the process save a situation. No, I've never. Yes, wonderful. So allow me, boys and girls. Madam Terry, are you there?
I'm there.
Yes.
I hope I do not write down now.
Now you are very clear. Now this part of sex education, I want you to start us off on this. Sex education. And why? Why? Because this is a topic that is a gray area. Most of the people fear addressing it in public, just the same way you said it. Even as parents and teachers, we fear addressing it. And this is the moment when you want to see the true picture of how your parent can be mad at you, then introduce the topic. That is most of the time what happens. And I want to start by posing a question, then to welcome Madam Cherry. And the question is, what type of movies do you watch? Guys, you can send me. Is it the GA or is it the rated one? So are you watching 13 and below, 18 and below, or 18 and above, 18 and below, or that is for general audience? Send us the chat and then we see. I'm seeing someone say that I'd rather watch Disney. Some say that I'll go to YouTube, YouTube for kids. Huh? Another one is saying 13 and below. And yes, remember, these are direct chats, and so I'm hiding your identity, so it doesn't matter. Don't worry. It is good for our knowledge. And someone says that 18 and below, 18 and below, others 13 and below, others general. Good. So these people, I usually watch only cartoons like SpongeBob. Wonderful. Great. So when you go to your friend and you tell your friend that I watch cartoon, or I watch a 13, a movie that is rated 13 and below, chances are high, if this person is watching, someone say I watch with my siblings if we find it interesting, and that is based on the age brackets. Now, what happens when in the process of watching that movie, a sexual scene comes in? Now, give me your comments. Sexual scene comes in. Sexual scene depends. It can be either of the kissing, it can either be of any other thing that happens, something that you know is sexual. So what do you do? Send me the chat. I remove it fast. Good. Continue. Remember, this is direct messaging, and so it's I'm protecting your identity, but it is good for us because it will form part of the discussion. I awkwardly look away, and you, I remove it first, change the channel. I act like I've not seen it. So how will you act that you've not seen it? Really? I ignore it. How? How will you just ignore it and you're seeing it? It's there on the screen. I act like I've not seen it. So nabakilea, but the side mirror is still working. You find yourself watching. Another person, another, send them. So as you send them, understand something, that media is playing a bigger role in we call it erosion of morality. So currently you can consume anything and everything, but now where is sense? That is where now Madam Terry takes over. Madam Terry, please continue.
Yes.
Continue.
Thank you. Yeah. So, sorry, dear ones, for that. But thank you, Banautian, for taking over. You have done it well. It was good. I could hear, though I could not get some of the things, but it was good. Now, sex education. It's a very interesting one. The song that you had just put, mwalimu alikuwa anasaidia watoto kuiba, don't touch hapa kwangu. So hapa kwangu ni wapi? Maybe that's a good question. What is hapa kwangu? Don't touch hapa kwangu. Don't touch hapa. What is this hapa kwangu? Yeah. What is this hapa kwangu? I would wish to understand, because private, it's a bit sensitive. People don't need to see it. Yeah. So that is why we want to talk about the sex education, because it's a technical discussion that many people fear even to mention the body parts. The hapa kwangu, watu wanaogopa hata kuzitaja. Wanagopa kuzitaja. Nitatumia lugha zote. I will use Kiswahili, I will use English, because sometimes we fear to mention this hapa kwangu. This hapa kwangu, yes. Niliona mwalimu akiguzaguza.
Yes.
Teacher would touch the penis and the vagina for the girls. Those sacred places, you know, until you learn to mention them openly. If you don't mention them openly, then you'll be having problems even discussing the topic about sex. But for you to discuss the topic about sex, then you need to be very bold and discuss and talk about the parts very openly and say, this is my vagina for my breasts. You mention them as they are. Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, we want to talk about the sex education, and let's go to where we are from the screen.
Madam Terry.
The screen says yes, high quality teaching related to sex
Madam Terry.
and sex.
Madam Terry, again, we are having challenges with your network again. Sorry for that. Sorry for that.
Again, it
the
is
topic
going.
yeah, it is disappearing. When the topic is very, very important, that's the time it starts disappearing.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, as we wait for Madam Terry again to settle and work on it, she's talked about.
Wow. And now, is it?
Continue. Okay, as we wait for Madam Terry to be okay, let me just pose a question, and the question is okay. She has posed a very great question. Do we really, even the teacher in the song was singing about Hapa Kwangu, and it was just by showing and not talking about it. Even at this particular time, if you are seated next to a parent, then they might feel an awkward discussion. And so it is a challenge that we are having. It is a challenge that we are having. But now we are here to dissect it and make it a common knowledge that by the end of it all, it helps you out. So sex education is high quality teaching and learning about a broad variety of topics related to sex and sexuality. We need to explore the values and beliefs about those topics and gaining the skills that are needed to navigate relationships and manage one's own sexual health. When we don't talk about them, then you might find yourself developing some of fungal infection, and you don't want to address it because you feel like it is not a good one. You might find that you are having a problem with either the vagina or the penis. Now, I've mentioned them, but I'll use now the other terms, the bit lesser term in the process of the discussion. But it is important for you to understand. When you're talking about the female organs, you know them. When you're talking about the male organs, you know them. And the teacher was singing about the breast, the buttocks, you know them, talking about the penis, the vaginas, all those. Very, very important in our discussion of today. So if you don't know, for girls that are developing, you might see things happening on your chest and you're like, now, how do I address it? Whom do I talk to? For the boys, you see now the pubic hair developing and you are now worried and you have emotions and the wet dreams are also being seen and you fear addressing it with the right person. And in the process, you start talking to your friends and your friends take advantage of the situation. And in the process of taking advantage, what happens next? Boom, problem, disaster, addiction. A comprehensive sex education includes a broad range of topics referring to sexuality and sexual health. It contains information about body image, abstinence, contraception, gender, human reproduction, human anatomy, pregnancy, and safe sex. But in all this, we won't concentrate in all of them. Our interest will be about the pregnancies, the issue of abstinence, and about the body image. There are many sorts of sex education among them: parents, friends, your friends, magazines, schools, churches, community-based programs, websites, media, and social media. Most of these sources have more negative impact than positive. Apart from the parents and your teachers, most of these others have negative impact than the positive. Therefore, it is our responsibility to make sure that we give the right information to the children at all phases of life. And I know that this is just a point. Our parents from here, those that are following, will now continue with the discussion. Now, This part of sexuality is significant part of one's identity, and it is important area of life that we must openly talk about as you've talked about it. So as a boy or as a girl, you must address this topic to your parents, to your teachers, in a position for you to be helped, And remember, discuss it with a responsible adult, because you might discuss it with another person and the person takes advantage of you. That song was a good one because it was trying to tell us about areas to protect. In other words, we are not supposed to show our penis to people. We are not supposed to show our buttocks to people. We are not supposed to show our breasts to people. We're not supposed to show the vaginas to people. So when you're showering, when you're doing all that, someone coming to touch all those, that is a sex offense. It is a criminal thing. Don't do that. Now, after addressing that, reasons why many teens engage in sex. Many teens engage in sex as a result of so many things. Thank you, Mr. Shikuku. Now, many reasons why many teens engage in sex. And there are so many reasons. One of it is we always have that perception in mind. I'll feel more grown up. For me to show people that I'm a grown up, then I must participate in it. You are wrong. Because of that independence you want to show people that I'm in a position to, I want people to know that I'm a fully grown boy or girl. You are wrong. Some teens feel they are ready for sex and that having it will make them even more mature and independent. That is wrong. I know I will enjoy sex. That is the perception, the second perception. For many teens, life is about the right here and right now. Teens may have a hard time weighing the short-term benefits, physical pleasure or emotional satisfaction against the possible and more serious consequences. So I know I will enjoy sex. You participate in it, but you don't look at the other consequences. You are young, engaging in sexual activities. There is STDs. We have unwanted pregnancies that comes with it, and there are other mental and health problems that also creeps in. So yes, I know I will enjoy it, but no, it has a negative effect to you. Don't. 3, it is okay if I have sex because everybody is doing it. And that is as a result of peer pressure that Mr. is going to address. That I know of people that are doing it, and so I want to do it to conform with my clique of friends. You often think that more of their peers are sexually active than actually are. Remember, that is not true. Keep it. You can never change the world by looking at everyone. You change the world by looking at you. You yourself try to make sure that you don't. Wait until the right time. I believe in having sex if I truly love the other person. And that is really, really affecting a different gender. It might affect the boys or even the guys. With more of persuasion of the other gender towards you, then you feel like, okay, let me give in because I feel like if I have it, then the person will feel like I love him or I love her. It is wrong. Love does not depend only on sex. So make sure that you are keen on that. Mr. Shikuku, I would like us to continue with the same. Please continue with number 5 and the next at least to give a new input on the same. Mr. Shikuku, take it now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tieno, and also to Mom Terry. We really appreciate your good contribution so far. I think we have reached where we have reached because of the commitment. Boys and girls.
Excuse me, sir, I have a question.
Okay, someone is interfering. I hope everyone is Amiani. Can you mute yourself? Or Mr. Tino, you help there. So we want to continue. We want to continue, boys and girls. And I want to make the emphasis that whatever teachings we are doing here are ethically accepted, because we are trying to bring up a generation that will understand these particular areas that have affected many people who are born before you. I want to say that you are privileged, and you should count yourself a lucky person, a lucky boy, a lucky girl, and you be appreciated to your parents because of even allowing you to join us in this program. Why do I say that, boys and girls? You realize that when I was growing up myself, I never had such an opportunity to be taught these things about drugs, these things about sex education. And we are calling it sex education because it is an education. You have to be educated. Most of the things that are happening in the society today that are affecting the humanity, there are things that must be addressed, and the best way of addressing them is through education. So we are here to educate you so that you will understand how you can remain firm in your morals and in your values, so that your parents and you and the society would be proud that you are born in such a generation. So number 5 is saying, I know people who had sex at a young age. So why can't I? You are asking that question, and it is like a peer pressure kind of a statement. I know other people, so why can't I? You had sex at a young age. I can handle the consequences just like you did. Let me tell you, consequences are never the same. You have been told here that never make a comparison between yourself and someone else, because you must understand, before you look into someone else, ask yourself, is this thing right for me at this tender age, at this small age? Because when you can handle consequences, what if whatever the outcome for you yourself is different from the other person? So you must not compare yourself. It is written there. People don't always tell the whole story when it comes to how they deal with their responsibilities and consequences of sex. Let me tell you, even me, if you can ask me, how are you dealing with these things when you are at our age? I might give you just a smaller side of the story, but not the entire story. So don't use my one side of the story to feel that, oh, okay, Peter handled it, I too can handle it. It is no. It is no. And because their brains aren't fully developed, teens can't realistically think through all the risks that having sex poses. Let me tell you, boys and girls, you are still growing. You are growing in your mental. You are growing in your emotional. You are growing in your ability to make decisions and to think. So you are a growing being as we talk. And as you grow, there are things that you may not fathom, or you may not reason well, or you may not understand well. So please stay away, because this thing will affect you. Let me tell you that when you go to high school or when you are in primary school and you entertain some kind of talks around these, you'll find yourself falling a victim. And that is not our wish here. We believe that you can uphold purity. We believe that you can uphold virginity, because it is a right word to be used, until you reach at a certain age, when if I am invited for your wedding, why will I miss that? I will come, because I know you are a boy or a girl, and by that time you will be a man or a woman who has withstood with purity and righteousness. So you can help your teen with this. And this is what we are telling you. We are sharing stories. Now, number 6, if I have sex, I'll finally know what it is like. Boys and girls, let me tell you that there is this proverb that says, practice makes perfect. But I say that not everything in this life requires practice. There are some things that are naturally designed by God. They will happen to us whether we practice or not practice. So you do not have to practice as a way of you do not have to practice as a way of knowing how to do it. No, everything comes at the right time. I normally challenge people when they talk about practice makes perfect. And then my question is, did somebody train you how to pee? Let me ask that question. Nobody did that. It came naturally. Did somebody teach you or train you or took you through a practice of how to spit? No, it is a natural event. It is happening naturally. So what do I mean? That things do happen naturally. And some of these things like sex, you don't have to go through any training. You don't have to practice. So don't say that if I have it, I'll finally know what it is like. Wait until you are of age. For many teens, curiosity plays a big role in choosing to have sex. And let me tell you, curiosity, there is also this proverb that says, curiosity killed the cat. Please don't be that cat that was killed by the curiosity. You can withstand the curiosity part of it and refuse to fall a victim of having these what we call sex at a tender age. Boys and girls, it is so painful. Let me say honestly here, when KCPE was done this year in March, there are children who did, I call them children because they are underage, but they did an exam while pregnant, while delivering. In fact, in Kenyatta Hospital, we had around 7 girls who had been taken there to deliver as well as doing exam. Why would such things happen? They happen because they took themselves to sex activity without having knowledge, and knowledge is power. We are sharing with you so that you are able not to fall a victim. Now, number 7 says, other people will like me more if I have other people. Now, my first question to you will be, do you really love yourself? Do you really love yourself? Because if I love myself, if I have won my personal love, I do not have to become vulnerable to be loved by other people so that I do the wrong thing. Love is not based on doing the wrong thing. Love is based on doing the right thing. We are talking to you here because we love you. We see a potential in you, unlimited you. And we are working and talking to you, boys and girls, so that in your entire life, even when you become an adult, you will say that I was taken through this life. I was educated on these particular topics, and today I have upheld my morality in the society. We do not want to live in a decayed society, in a society where we are winning, loved when we do the wrong things. You do not have you do not have to drink as a way of being the right person. You do not have to have sex. Let me tell you, it is something you can withhold, because you must feel in your mind, I am an underage, I have a future to live, I have a life to live, and therefore I will not allow anything that is not of my age to ruin my destiny and to make me become lost in the society. No. So other people will the next part here is how to prevent this vice, what we call sexual vices. There is a way, boys and girls, you can. And look at how we have given you these points. There is what we call a P. There are 5 P's, 5 P's. Children need to know that the sexual organ, what we have as vagina and penis for the boy child, and then vagina for the girl child, you need to know that these things, those 5 letters are around them. Number 1, it is private. It is absolutely private. Let me tell you, when a child is a baby, that child is very naive. They don't know what they have. That's why we are not calling children here. We are calling teenagers,
We are dealing with you teenagers who have grown to the age of knowing that in my entire body, I have these organs. Just like you have a nose, just like you have ears, just like you have your chin and your mouth and every organ, we have other organs inside our stomachs. So this is an external, not internal, because it is not in, but it is external organ. And this external organ, those 5 P's, one, boys and girls, remember, it is private. Whatever is private is your personal owned organ. It is not for public. Number 2, it is personal. Personal. Still addressing the aspect of private. It is personal, meaning each and everyone have their own. I have mine. You have yours, someone else have theirs. So it is mine. Why should I start sharing with the public? Because I want to be liked, or because of peer pressure, or because I am drunk? No, you don't have to go that way. Again, it is pure, boys and girls, purity. When you go back to the Bible in the book of Luke, you will realize that there is this lady called Mary, the mother of Jesus. The angel Gabriel visited this Mary, and the Bible calls Mary as a virgin, Virgin Mary. Why do we call her Virgin Mary? She was able to keep her purity. And remember, at that particular time, she was being engaged by Joseph. They wanted to settle down in marriage. But look at how she had stood the test of time and age and peer pressure. Boys and girls, you can make it. Boys, you can make it. You can remain pure boy. Girls, you can remain pure girls. It is a choice. Remember, purity, purity. Private, personal, pure. I don't know whether you are getting them. Then it is precious. Wow, wow, wow. Precious, precious. You must understand how precious it is. One, we cannot excrete without it. We need it for excretion. Let me tell you, people who have been having kidney challenges and problems where they cannot excrete naturally have had themselves being taken to the hospital and being put pipes so that they are able to excrete. So you need to see the importance of this particular organ. It is very precious because it helps me to excrete successfully. How precious it is also. It is precious because out of them, we are all born. I normally say, and honestly speaking, boys and girls, we are not cut from trees. We are not branches of trees. We are human beings. We have been born. We were not hatched from an egg. We are human beings. We are born. And we are born through birth canal. If you understand what birth canal is, or which is vagina, and we are born as a result of a sex activity that has taken place between the adults, and not just adults who are married. So you must understand how precious it is. The next thing, it is purposeful. And the purpose of it, I have talked about excretion. And then number 2, I have addressed you about birth. I have explained to you that we are not cut from trees. We are not hatched from eggs. We have been born. So giving birth is on purpose. And it is a precious gift that God has given to human beings. Imagine a world where there was only Adam and Eve. Only Adam and Eve. And the world is too big like it is. We are over billions, around 7 billions. Around 7 billions. And the world is still not full. Why? So remember, we have these organs for purpose. And anything that you have on purpose has its right time, not any other time. Not any other time. That is why light is very important. And God has given us light during the daytime. Darkness is also important. And darkness comes at night. You cannot live in darkness as well as in light. Boys and girls, you do not have to be cheeky in life to feel that you are complete. You are a very complete human being as you are right now. With or without sex, you are complete. You are very precious. So remember those 5 P's. 1, private. 2, personal. 3, pure. 4, precious. And 5, purposeful. So you have a responsibility to guard yourself from unhealthy relationships that may lead you to the abuse of your privacy. Boys and girls, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility, and that responsibility, it is personal. Our work here is to guide you. Our work here is to talk to you so that you are able to have the information. Ole wako, if you don't use the information in the right way. So you have that. These organs are called private because they are not meant for the public. And that is one thing that I have said. They are private. And that is why we are putting on clothes. If at all people are left to walk the way, I mean, in their nudity or in their nakedness, what kind of a world will we be in? And that is why when you look at what we call basic needs, we talk about clothing, so that we use clothing to cover up our privacy. Do not expose them to anyone. They are personal and are for a good purpose and for the right person, right time, and in right marriage. Right person, right time, and in right marriage. These are not public things. They are not public things. Please, we are not talking about public things here. We are talking about private things, very precious to us, very personal to us. So you need to understand that the virginity is a gift and should be guarded well till marriage as an honor to God and to yourself. And when we talk about virginity, it cuts across boys and girls. We are not just addressing girls, we are addressing all of us, you boys and girls. So you need to uphold it. It is a precious gift. And it is a gift that when you keep, you will honor God and you will honor yourself. And you will honor your future partner. Let's take these things seriously so that we do not have a decayed society, so that we do not have young girls. Before you do what we call, you exploit your potential of making a difference in life, that you have wasted your virginity and you have ended up becoming a young mother at a very young age. Boys, you might not be known that you have participated in this, but let me tell you, consequences will follow. And those consequences may not be good on your side. So please, how do you prevent? You need to know that your body is precious, a special temple of the Holy Spirit and a treasure. Let me tell you, that one is written in the book of 1 Corinthians that talks about your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. It is very precious. It is very precious. It is a treasure. You know what is a treasure? Let me tell you, treasures are kept. Treasures are kept. Treasures are kept. You don't expose treasures to everyone. No, you have to keep it. It is my pressure. This is my special gift. One ability God has given you is that you can make your powerful choices not to defile your bodies and ruin your life and future. Unlimited me. How do you become unlimited you? You are not limited to the peer pressure. You are not limited to the sex activities. You are not limited to drug abuse and any other thing. You have chosen to live on purpose. Remember, you are a treasure that God has given to this life. You are a great blessing that has been born at this time. Why would you waste your time? So number one, do not.
So, Mr. Shikuku, as we go to the next one, as we go to how to prevent sexual vices, I'll also encourage the participants here to share their thoughts on how do they prevent sexual advances that comes their way. Just send your chat as we continue, because whatever we are going to talk about are just what we feel, but what about you as an individual? How have you been dealing with that? Thank you, Mr. Shikuku. Continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, just to continue, boys and girls, we have said that God has given us ability. Remember, it is the ability that we have that has made us to call for this meeting so that we are able to help you to make very powerful decisions that will help you to live in purity and to live as a precious treasure in life. So, number one, do not engage yourself in sex before marriage. Do not engage yourself. Boys and girls, it might be hard decision for you, but it is the best decision you can ever make for your life. It is the best decision you can ever make to honor your body. It is the best decision you can ever make to honor God. It is the best decision that you can ever make to be a role model in the society. The society needs people. It needs people. People who with morality, be that agent of change, be that agent of purity, be that agent who can say virginity is still a virtue in our society and we can uphold on it. So avoid exposing yourself to unworthy movies and dirty pictures that can defile your mind. Let me tell you, there is power in mind, boys and girls. Things that people do, they start in the mind. The mind captures something, and after the mind has captured something, it works on it until it executes it. Let me tell you, when you expose yourself to dirty movies, movies that have these things, boys and girls, after watching, there is connection between your eyes and your mind. It will go directly to the mind. Then it will come down from the mind, going down to where you have your personal organ, your private organ. And then you will ask yourself, why can't I also do it? It is enjoyable. People are doing it. Please, can you make sure you don't expose yourself to unworthy movies? This should not be because your parents have put a condition for you. You should be your own personal director. You are the CEO of your life. You are the manager of your activities. With or without my parents around, I will refuse to expose myself to dirty things. It is a choice that you have to make. So avoid these dirty movies and dirty pictures that can defile your mind. Once the mind has been defiled, boys and girls, everything is defiled, because whatever decisions that you make, they start from mind. They start from mind. Now, the next one, avoid sexual websites and social media pornography. Please, there are those things, avoid them. Avoid them, avoid them, avoid them, avoid them completely. Avoid them. It is so painful to find yourself on those dirty things. I am saying, just like I said the other time, and I will repeat it, that whatever, social media itself is a great blessing to humanity. Please, today we have an opportunity to access the information the way we want. Yes, Mr. Tieno, I've seen your message as well. We have what we call social media. It's a blessing to humanity. It is helping us to engage and to be exposed to many things. We learn many things. We are able to know things that are happening in the world. In fact, social media has brought the world to your hands. But the question is, has it brought the world to your own hand so that you misuse it? Or it has brought the world in your hand so that you use it in the right way? So what do I mean, boys and girls? Anything that is unworthy in the social media, avoid it. You can use social media in a very positive way and live a very positive life. It is a choice you have to make. The next one, stand against unhealthy sexual practices. Stand against. You and I, we should be the agents of change that we want to see in the society. We should be the agents of change. You can tell when you hear your fellow peers, your classmates, your friends bring such kind of talks. You can stand firm and say no to such kind of talks. It is better to say no, even if you remain alone, because saying no will help you to refuse these bad vibes in the society, introducing ourselves into things that will ruin our lives at a very tender age. It doesn't mean that it ruins the adults. No. Adults, it is part of their living now. But adults who are in marriage, because we are talking about morality in the society, boys and girls, I fear losing you in the future if you don't know that you are unlimited. Understand that you are an unlimited boy and you are an unlimited girl. So avoid, stand against these practices like sexual harassment. People are being harassed. There is harassment can be in form of the way somebody wants to touch you, someone of the opposite sex. Don't expose yourself to such kind of darts. If you're a boy child, maybe house help. I have very much respect to them, and I'm not talking about negatively. I'm just giving you an example. They may take advantage of you, calling you and start touching you unnecessarily. You can say no and a big no. Shout it. It is well. It is well. Girl child, somebody touching you. There are those things we've called 5 P's: private, personal, pure, precious, and purposeful. Do not allow anyone to touch any other part that should not. There are things that we are exposed to human beings. My head, when you touch my head, I'm okay, but I cannot allow you. I cannot allow you to touch other things. I refuse that. So, sexual abuse through defilement and rape leading to teen pregnancies and abortions, STD. Look at those things. Are they things that the society will be happy to experience because of our inability, to do the right thing? No, 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 no. I want to urge us. We do not want to live in a society where rape has become like our norm. It is not our norm. We refuse it. We don't want to live in a society where abortion is a talk of the town, where girls feel like I can have sex, I can become pregnant, and then I terminate. Remember, in the first place, you were never terminated. Why would you allow yourself to terminate someone? Why would you allow yourself to terminate a blessing? Why would you cut a child's life that you do not know how God made it to be? So I'm here to encourage us. These are not things that we would want to see in our society. Teen pregnancies. I can't imagine as a parent, as a father, seeing my teenager daughter, even at 22, even at 23, not unless they are married, because after 18, yes, they have become adults. But because I still look at the bracket of education, I'll still feel it bad. I want to see my child, I want to see my daughter acquiring their education and achieving it in life. And then when you bring some other things on the table, I'll be very proud of you. So the next thing, please, there is what we call STDIs, sexually transmitted diseases or infections. Things like HIV/AIDS, a disease that does not have a treatment. It only has what we call medicine that is used to control it, but not to treat it. We have lost many people as a result of that. Why would you be the next? You can say no. We have people who have suffered from gonorrhea. We have people who have suffered from syphilis. Why would I be the next one? I refuse to be the next one. It is a choice you can make. And it is the right time, boys and girls, that we are talking to you to make such choices, because choices that we make will build us in the society. The choices that we make will make us better and not bitter. The next thing, keep off sponsors, those supporting you in exchange of sexual gains. And this to a girl child. Girls who are in high school, and those who are joining high school, and even those who are still in primary school, you have a choice. Do not allow, you are still tender, your age. Please depend on your parents. If there is something in the home, even if it is little, that is what you have. Please be contented and be comfortable with that. Do not allow yourself to be under pressure that you want to live a life to please the society. If we don't have food in the house, we are going to drink water. We better drink our water in the house, and I remain pure in my life, and I become a good person, rather than allowing myself to involve myself into dirty things at a very tender age. No, boys and girls, you can't make a decision. So avoid the so-called sponsors. They are out there. Some the old mamas are called sugar mummies, and the daddies, the old fathers are called sugar daddies. You don't need a sugar mommy, you don't need a sugar daddy. You have your precious parent, mom and dad. Please, anything that you want, be open, share with your parents anything of your need. Girl child, I know sometimes your needs are advanced. Please be open to your parents, share and tell them whatever you need. You don't need a third party. You need yourself as the primary person and your parents, because they have a responsibility to guide you. The next one is develop skills in communication and negotiation. There is power in communication. We are talking here because we can communicate to you. You can communicate yourself. Let your stance be known. And as a young child, don't expose yourself to an environment that will lead to you being defiled. Don't expose yourself to an environment that will lead you to being abused. And that is why there is this term that you sometimes you feel you are overprotected. Sometimes it is not overprotection. It is being extra careful to bring you up. That is what your parents are after. So please do not take them negatively and feel that they are overprotecting. They are not overprotecting. They are being extra careful with you so that they help you to live in the right way. So as I have said, develop skills in communication and negotiate. Don't just be a person when someone comes to your life and tells you, I want to meet you, yes. I want to talk to you, yes. Please, not everything requires yes. It is a sweet word and easy to say, but the consequences of saying yes for everything is there. So it is good when you can also develop the skill of saying no. It is good when you can also develop the skill of saying I refuse. Develop such kind of skills. And then the next one, get okay. I'll tell you just 1 minute. Get accurate information. Okay. Get accurate information about abstinence and contraception, including use of. But please, those are the things use of whatever. Let me just say, boys and girls, our ultimate goal is to abstain, nothing else. FDC is to us as children, it is to abstain. Now, what are the benefits of sex education? Why do we teach you this? So that you are able to get to understand the consequences of unhealthy sexual behavior. It is good for you to understand. You cannot understand if you don't get educated. And we are glad that we are here educating you. We are here that we are explaining to you these points. We are here that we are the power behind sex. So please, you are privileged that you are hearing them. Number 2, we develop skills in communication and expression of self. You develop skills. Skills are developed. And if you don't get the right information, you cannot develop the skills. So when you get educated, you will develop skills that will help you to communicate and express yourself. Please express yourself. Express yourself. Express yourself. Please express yourself. Don't be under pressure for no reason. You have the ability and the power to control it. Number 3, you gain what we call self-awareness. And please understand the word self. It is not our awareness, your self-awareness, my self-awareness. And that you can only develop when you get to be taught, when you get to be told about these things. And then the next thing is we get to understand our bodies and how they behave. Boys and girls, as I said last week, you are a complete human being, the way you are born, and therefore anything that grows in your body, girls, it is accepted, boys, it is accepted. If you as a girl develop the breast, you are growing, because imagine a situation where you are growing and nothing is growing in your chest. You will have to ask yourself, am I really normal? So these things that you are taught in adolescence, those changes that take place, adolescence, physical changes and emotional changes, they are very important because they show you are a complete human being. So boys and girls, self-awareness is very important. Get to understand these informations. Get to understand the information about your body and how your body behaves. You have the control of your mind and the body and everything and the organs. You can control them. The next thing is that it helps to prevent sexually transmitted infections, what we call STIs or STDs. It helps. We can control them. We do not want to lose people at a very tender age. You have a dream. You are unlimited boy. You are unlimited girl. And because you are unlimited person, you have to get the right information. And the right information can only be shared. And then the next one, it helps you to keep boundaries. Boys and girls, we have boundaries. Just like I cannot just walk in your home. I must be accepted. Your parents must be aware that I'm coming so that you are protected. Even if you are known to me and I'm known to you, there are what we call boundaries. Boundaries are helping us to keep ourselves in the right pace of life. So there are boundaries between you and the adults, between you and opposite sex, even when you develop a friendship, because we don't deny you friendship.
Okay. Can you, Mr. Shikuku? Okay, mnanisikiliza?
In Psalms 139 and verse 14, the Bible says, I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are our works. Boys and girls, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't spoil unlimited you. You are such unlimited boy with a destiny. You are such a unlimited girl with a destiny. It takes the right decision to remain on the track for you to find yourself in that future that we are all desiring for you. You need an information, and thanks to the study room that we are able to reach out to you and share with you all these things that we never had the privilege. And you don't know how sometimes it's spoiled us. Sometimes we are who we are today because we had to make deliberate decision. You are lucky at this age that we can share all these things with you. God bless you. Thank you for listening to me. I'm glad that once again I have talked to you. Over to you, Mr. Tieno.
Thank you so much.
When I pray later.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shikuku, for that wonderful presentation and rejoined us that you've had. That was a great one. That was a great one. The infusion of the real life with the biblical experience was a great one. And I know that by the end of all these boys and girls, we are going to be a changed lot. Mr. Shikuku is a pastor and also a teacher and a head of guidance and counseling at Rockville's group of schools. So he's also a motivational speaker and an author. So all that you've got, all the experiences that is given to you is based on so many interactions with different people. And based on the interaction, those are the pieces and the information that he has received and is, according to him, believes that are the best for you. Now, I want to wrap it up. And before wrapping it up, I've sent a chat to you guys on giving us your feedback and also informing us about how you've been in a position to manage the sexual advances towards you. And people have shared their views and also questions. And Mr. Shikuku, in the process of talking, was answering to this particular question. So that was a great piece. Now, this, you can forget everything that you have talked about. That is normal. But remember these key things. That one, your body is private, precious, pure, purposeful. Very, very important. So anytime someone advances, makes an advancement towards you, inappropriate advancement towards you, by either touching the parts that we have mentioned, one, pure, purposeful, remember them. The 5 P's that we have mentioned, remember them. Don't show your body, your private parts to people. That is very, very important. I know we are in the world of media. I know we are in the world, there is something that Mr. Shikuku talked about of sexting. I don't know if you saw that, sexting. And this is a point where you are engaging with someone on talking about sexual activities or through text. It is a problem that I saw some years back, and I had to deal with it when I was dealing with some of the students, where you found someone telling you to send me a photo, send me your photo, send me a photo to confirm that you are the one. And then in the process, the person advances, please send, I can't see your face well, send me when you have removed the sweater. Then the conversation continues to the point where now you're supposed to send a photo when you are not in your clothes. It is happening. The social media has affected our way of doing things. But now you must say no. You must say no to the advancement that are going to interfere with your morality and the family values. Things that are not accepted in your family, things that are not accepted at this particular time. Number 2, Mr. Shikuku has talked about sponsors. I know we are dealing with teens here that are either 18, 19, or 17, and they are now going to make the next step in joining colleges and universities. And they are going to university, the colleges, where the way of life is different. People are living their life large, and they want to have every top range of vehicles. They want to be associated with every musician, every top artist. In the process of doing this, we sell our bodies. And in the end, we lose ourselves. We don't complete our education. We leave the place with so many cases of STDs. We find ourselves having unwanted pregnancies. And by the end of it all, remember the statistics that I was talking about. When early pregnancies crops in teens, then chances are high it might lead to the issue of poverty and also the health challenges. Remember that. So for the teenagers that are going to join universities and colleges, it is very, very important, because when you go there, we are going to have peer pressure affecting us. And it will be the point of discussion in the next meeting, where we'll have a total session of peer pressure and how you can control it when you join universities and high schools and colleges. Again, remember this. that having emotional attachment or having feelings is normal. So when you find that you're attracted to someone, it is normal. It is normal. And chance you understand that then unlike and that is in physics now, the unlike force attracts themselves. But in normal life, you will find that chances are high that a boy will get attracted to a girl. A daughter will get attracted to the father, and a son will get attracted to the mother. And you'll find that you're sharing information to the other gender. It is normal. You are not abnormal. However, you must take in of this, that by any chance you are sharing information that is private, that involves sex education, share it with responsible adults. That is one, responsible adults. And then two, with your parents, your teachers, your pastor or any church leader, the person that you are close to. But this person must be responsible person. If you feel that the person is taking advantage of you, then one, you must say no. Because remember, your body is pure. These organs are pure. You must, and they are private. So you must say no. Then two, get out and report the case to either your mommy, your daddy, if it is happening at home. Because statistics says that incest right now is one of the cases that people that are these organizations are reporting, the cases of incest. So you might find that it is your bigger, your elder brother or your cousin or a person within your family trying to force you into having all these unnecessary things at this time. And so when that happens, be free to report to your parent. You can report to your parent by either texting your parent or either writing a note to your parent if you feel that expressing yourself directly one-on-one with your parent will be a problem. Write something, communicate, either on a written communication or oral communication. Do any way of communication. If it is in school, communicate to your teachers. If it is a case that teachers or parents cannot solve, then there is the helpline number. And this is from, I think it's called Kenya, it's childcare. It is childcare. You've seen this on TV, Childline Kenya. And the number is 116. Childline Kenya, the number is 116. Childline Kenya works in partnership with the government to stop child abuse and provide safe environment for children. So if by any chance it is something that your parents cannot control or your teachers cannot help, then you can also involve the Childline Kenya. 116 is the number. When you do all that, then you are going to have a girl, a boy that will be safe, a boy that will have potential, a boy that will tap on his potential, or a girl that will tap on her potential. And by the end of it all, remember, things that are limiting us will just be stories. They'll be like glass sailing, that by the end of it all, we will stretch our hands or use the hammer or use the mallet to smash. And by the end, we are going to be at the top. Remember, we must be unlimited in us. I want to welcome Mr. Shikuku to offer the final prayer before saying bye-bye to everyone. And remember, you can still continue sending the chats based on how you have felt of this particular topic. If we have impacted you positively, our areas where we need to improve, you are free to do so. Mr. Shikuku, final prayer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tieno, boys and girls. I also want to thank you, my co-presenter, Pastor Terry. Thank you very much. Otieno, thank you for the coordination. Boys and the girls, I also want to say thank you very much. And allow me to thank your parents. If some of them are on the background, parents, we are very much grateful for always trusting us with your children, that we may make an impact on their lives. And boys and girls, you who have been listening to us, we know that you are an agent of change. You are that change that the society needs. You are that change that the society is looking for. And therefore, make sure that you give yourself the very best and that you remain committed. And this information that you get here, you share together with other friends of yours. We can make it. You are unlimited. Let's pray. Father, Lord, in Jesus' mighty name, we thank you this wonderful day. Lord, on 1st of May 2021, it's a great honor, Lord, for us to gather on this platform to make an impact on the lives of these boys and girls that God you have given unto us. Our main topic today has been unlimited me. And Father, you have enabled us to speak to them on the drug and drug abuse, and also to speak to them, Lord, about sex education. Father, we believe that we have given that which, Lord, you have enabled us to do. And therefore, Lord, I want to commit these boys and girls that as they live in this corrupted world, they will be the change that the society is looking for. They will be the agents of change because their standard of moral will be high. God, since they are unlimited boys and girls, I pray that Jehovah Lord guide them. I pray Jehovah Lord that keep them. I pray Jehovah Lord that they will understand how to say no to drug abuse, oh God. How to withstand against the temptations of drugs. In the name of Jesus Christ, oh God. Lord, there is what we call personal influence. There is what we call family influence. And there is what we call societal influence. We pray, Jehovah Lord, that our children will not be influenced by the society, will not be influenced by the family activities that are not in the moral standard, in Jesus' mighty name. Now, about sex education, oh God, may these boys and girls understand that, Lord, the sexual organs they have are personal, are private, are pure, are precious, and are purposeful, and that nothing or no any bad teaching or influence or bad vice, oh God, will affect them, Jehovah Lord, against withstanding and upholding the purity, even as the Bible says. Father, we thank you for Study Room KE, Lord, for the organizing team. We thank you, Lord, Father, for the four of us, and even for the heart that God you have given to us to serve the society and to make an impact to our generation, Lord. It is our desire that God will keep us going forward and open more doors, even for us to reach those who are in colleges, those who are in universities, oh God, even the parents, because there are a lot that the society need to be educated about on, so that, Lord, we may come back to the good morals and good standards of our society. Father, thank you for the privilege that we have had. And I pray for the month of May that, God, it is a blessed month for our children and even for our parents. Even as children are waiting to resume back to school, God, I pray, my Father, that Jehovah Lord, you will keep them and you will keep their parents. Father, we thank you, Jehovah Lord, that the strict measurements that have been taken, some have been lifted today, that has opened ways, oh God, even for schools to reopen and for our children to go back to school and to acquire their education. We thank you, Jehovah Lord, and we honor you. For this we pray, believing and trusting in Jesus' mighty and holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Shikuku. And to all the members that participated in all this, we want to thank you. You can get this information later in the day or later at night or tomorrow morning on YouTube. Our account name is Study Room KE. You can subscribe remember to subscribe on the channel, and you can share also the information to your friends and relatives. See you next Saturday as we discuss a new topic, and part of it generally will be about peer pressure, because now schools are resuming and people are going there to have a lot of challenges. Universities, colleges, some of the guys are resuming. So we will discuss all this and other issues that are related to you that will make you to be unlimited. Thank you so much. I want to read one final comment that someone is requesting, and I think it is something, Mr. Shikuku, that we'll address next time. We need to handle the issue of they are called the LGBT. I will talk about it later about the issue of LGBT, but it will be a different forum. We'll discuss that later. Thank you for your response. God bless you. See you next Saturday. Bye.
They can unmute and say bye. They can unmute their
Bye, 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 bye.
You are free to unmute.
Bye, bye, bye.
We
Bye.
will discuss LGBT.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye, bye,
Bye. Thank you
bye.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Bye.
too. God bless you too.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you too. We are blessed to have you.
Finally, come on.
Thank you and God bless you.
Yes.
Thank you and God bless you.